Welcome to the bar with Alan and Betsy.
Hey, Betsy, what are you drinking today?
I'm drinking hard Mountain Dew
I got Malibu and Diet Coke, my favorite drink.
because it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Today, we thought we'd tell you a little bit. We get asked all the time. We had our own independent boutique brokerage, and we get asked, why the agency? So we thought we'd tell you why.
We were doing great. Just the two of us and our fantastic, marvelous staff.
We were thinking about what life's going to look like long term. We were actually talking with our daughter, and I think she never wanted to come into real estate. She had always told us she was never coming into real estate. I think she saw the hours we worked and never going to be like mom, always stuck to her telephone and taking calls and stressed. And the business can look that way from the outside if you don't look at the big picture. Fortunately, her school had her go through an exercise about career paths and looked at her career paths. She looked at 3 career paths. I think hers were being a psychologist, being in marketing, internet type career path, and she chose real estate broker, I think out of default to just have a third one. And the whole concept was, if you were going to take those career paths, what are some of the colleges you would look at? What kind of courses would you take? How would you write your first resume? What would it look like? Where would you apply to go to work? And then what would your career path look like in those career fields? I think she figured out during that process that with psychologists, she way too much school for her that she wanted to go to. And she looked at the marketing and internet, and I think she looked at how much income she was going to make and working for other people. And so in February, a year ago, I think her and I were at dinner. Betsy was on a listing appointment. And her and I were talking, and she told me she had finished her project. And I said, great, did you make an A? And she made an A in the project. And she goes, well, I figured this out. She goes, I think I want to go to college, and I might do something first, but then I want to come into the real estate and work for the company with you and mom. And of course, I was shocked. I'm texting Betsy. I know she's on a listing, but I'm still texting her because this is big. And I'm like, you're not going to believe this. Bree says she wants to come into the real estate business.
You're saying don't say anything to her.
Yep, don't say anything to her because this is like, I can't believe she's saying this. Then I'm like, okay, Bree, tell me why you want to do this. She goes, I think I figured out that the only way that I can travel
in the vacation style that I've become accustomed to
is, and have the time off like y'all have, and travel in the style that we've become accustomed to. And what she means is first class, is to go into real estate.
Yeah, because otherwise she won't have the money to travel the way that she likes to travel, which is comical to me.
But that's a good why. And we started thinking about it and thinking maybe we want to look at building a company for the next generation. And we had been approached by several big national franchises before this about affiliating with them. Some of them have actually offered to give us franchises if we would take them over existing in the market area, because I had a strong background in working with a big national franchise. And we looked at them and none of them appealed to us. One of them came to town. I've got a funny story with that, but they were all suit and ties and didn't really appeal to us. And then all of a sudden we came across the agency.
And I was like, oh my gosh, because look, I'm that girl who has followed every single housewife my entire life. And so I'm like, Mauricio and Kyle, hell yeah.
We had first came across Mauricio 5 or 6 years ago through Tom Ferry Network that we belong, and we're pretty high up in there. And so we knew Mauricio, and I knew Ben Black. Him and I had been in a small group at Tom Ferry's house 4 or 5 years ago. We'd known each other and met, who is in the agency. And so we had some connections, and we got connected and we started talking to them. And so when it first happened, and I remember showing my screen, turning my screen around to Betsy in the agency, I said, did you know they franchised? I said, did you know they franchised? And she was like, oh my gosh, you're kidding.
I'm done.
And she was done.
Because I really did not want to franchise.
And I'm like,
if we want to be clear.
I'm like, just be patient. Let me work through the business side of it, because she was done. And so I'm like, let me work through the numbers. And so we started talking last June. We started really getting serious about it. We were on vacation in Colorado. We had a big Zoom call with them. And it went really well. We really liked the presentation, and we happened to be vacationing with our daughter and her best friend out in Colorado. And just so happened that our daughter wanted to go stay with a friend out there for a couple of days. And so we had a couple of days off in Colorado on our own. So we said, there's an agency office that just opened in Denver. So since we had a couple of days, we just drove down there, drove into Denver, walked in the office and said, hi, we're considering joining the agency.
Hung out with Casey.
And we ran into Casey and Jared, and they were just outstanding, brand new owners, showed us the office, and we sat down and talked to them for a while. We had lunch while we were there in Denver. And by the time we left Denver in Colorado, we said, hey, let's do this. And we were pretty excited. We said, if we can make the numbers work, we're going to do it. I think we came back and negotiated a little bit, because we did not just want to do an office. We wanted to do the whole region, so that we knew that we could protect. If we were going to spend the money to build the brand in an area that didn't exist, we wanted to be able to protect it and make sure that somebody else couldn't come in right next to us and right on top of us that didn't want to protect the brand as much as we did.
And the culture.
And the culture.
We are big on culture.
So we said, hey, what's it going to take for us to buy the whole area? And part of that was we agreed to open 3 offices pretty quick, which of course is a pretty big expense to be able to do that. But we said that we would do it. And so we immediately, when we launched in December, we announced we converted our existing office. And now we have our Virginia Beach office, Williamsburg. And so that'll be our northernmost office. They've got some phenomenal housing in Williamsburg.
And I say to everybody, when we went to Forum, from the minute that we pulled up, and they do it right, and everything was red, and you pull in, and just seriously, I get tears in my eyes talking about it. But when you walk into there, and you're walking in from a Great Bridge girl, Beverly Hills people, it's a very different world. And I may be number one out here, but walking in there, I'm selling $400,000 houses here. They're selling $40 million houses out there. So I felt like this big, but you walk in with that agency shirt on and they're like, oh my gosh, you feel like you're walking into your long lost brother or sister. It is a totally different vibe. And when Mauricio says we have a culture, he is not kidding, because our culture is unlike anything else. And Forum was just unbelievable to us.
And so it was pretty amazing. And part of the funny story I said I would tell you is one of the individuals, one of the companies that had tried to recruit us before that was Engel & Volkers, another very large, based in New York in the US and Europe overall, high-end luxury company, had come down and visited us and tried to recruit us into their franchise. During the process, I said they knew that they'd come down. And I'm like, how did they know that Engel & Volkers had tried? I said, they did come down and try to recruit us, and they were just all suit and tie. And I said, and we're a beach community, we're like that. And I was making fun that, oh, they were just stiff and suit and tie. And they said, do you remember who it was that came down? And I said, not really. They were suit and tie. Well, they said, hi, Alan, I'm Brian. And I said, hi, Brian. He goes, I was one of the guys with Engel & Volkers that came down.
That's right.
He goes, I work with the agency now, and I'm really glad you didn't go with Engel & Volkers. So it was funny that I had made a comment that we didn't go with them, and now he's with the agency. And so it was a good experience. I was glad we didn't go with them either, because he's with the agency. And I saw him on a Zoom call the other day, and he was in a T-shirt. He wasn't in a suit and tie. So he fits the culture here better,
we went to their huge chairman circle, and Alan, we're all in tuxes and just ball gowns, and Alan's, he always wears tennis shoes, so that kind of stuff. And I'm like, you're not wearing tennis shoes. And so I wouldn't let him wear his tennis shoes. And so we get down there, and we literally walk downstairs, and here's Mauricio, and here's Billy Rose, and here's, oh my gosh, all of them, Czar, everybody is in tennis shoes. And I'm like,
with their tux.
I am so sorry, babe. Half of them have jeans on with tux jackets. And I'm like this, oh my gosh.
My people.
He's like, see, I'm like, babe, go back upstairs then. Go put your tennis shoes on. But yes, they were all wearing.
They were my people. It was good. And we're really excited. We love the brand. It fits us.
It's totally us.
It fits our culture.
Number one rule, no assholes.
Which definitely fits us. That's how we are. We love the rules. That's the culture we want to build. It's the culture. We tell people we were doing great as an independent boutique. We did not have to do this. We had a phenomenal life. We were already traveling 1 week out every month. We were living a great life. We're doing this to build a company for the next generation. And the agents we're hiring are for the next generation. And that's what we're looking for. We will eventually retire. I might retire before Betsy, but
definitely.
we're building this so that the company continues. And without a doubt, it is the brand that we want to build it with.
Absolutely. We'll see you
next time at the bar.